What is the best medication for anxiety? Now, as a pharmacist with over 20 years experience in the field, this is the question I get asked all the time. So for you, particularly, what do you think is the best medication for your anxiety? Lynn swears by Sertraline, and Linda says that Paroxetine is the one best for her. Well, Louis says that duloxetine is the one that he feels is the best. My name is Joseph. And with over 20 years experience in the field, I'm going to share with you the one that is the best medication for your anxiety. But before I do that, there are 4 things that determines which one is the best. So let's get into it immediately. Number 1 is side effects. You see, one thing that Lynn hasn't mentioned is that she was getting on all right with it. And one thing Linda hasn't mentioned as well is that the sertraline was giving her so much indigestion and heartburn, which is why she's now on paroxetine. And also something that Lewis hasn't mentioned is that the fact that she was getting so much sexual dysfunction and affecting her performance using sertraline. And so side effect is one thing that made them not to go with sertraline. Number 2 is pre-existing condition. So sometimes people don't tell you other conditions they're going through. They don't tell you other issues they're going through with. So for instance, what Lynn hasn't mentioned about sertraline, that she also suffers from depression. So she's not using sertraline only for anxiety. She's also combining the effect of sertraline to combat her anxiety as well as her depression. And that's something she hasn't mentioned at all. Also, Lewis hasn't mentioned the fact that he's got this neuropathic pain. So even though he was prescribed duloxetine for anxiety, he was also getting the benefit of using duloxetine to manage his neuropathic pain. Number 3 is time and duration. What do I mean by time? You see, when you take anxiety medication, you need to give it time to work. Same things like sertraline, you need to take it for up to 2 to 6 weeks before you can start getting the benefit of sertraline. See, what Linda hasn't said about sertraline is this. He wasn't compliant. He wasn't taking it daily. He took it some days and forget some days. And so this was an issue. He couldn't adhere with the effect of sertraline. She didn't allow it to work. She didn't allow it to get into her system. So what that meant is that she couldn't really say that it worked for her. And so she went back to her doctor and they decided to prescribe paroxetine for her. Number 4. Now, before I mention number 4, I'm going to ask you, have you subscribed? Please, if you haven't subscribed, please, can you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification button? Thank you so much for doing so. I'm really grateful. And so what's number 4? It's mindset. You see, the thing is that Lewis has met with his friends and they have said, oh, it hasn't really worked. Sertraline hasn't made any difference. And the fact that they have told him that sertraline hasn't worked, he already had a mindset that sertraline wasn't going to work for him. And so when he went for review and prescription for anxiety, he was happy to go with duloxetine. So one of his friends were on duloxetine. Of course, it worked for him. He also heard one of his friends that said how sertraline has affected his sexual performance. And so he didn't like it at all. And so mindset, biasness, and his psyche has been affected. And that's why he felt, well, sertraline will not be for him. And so for you, what do you think is the best anxiety medication? The truth that you have the answer. You and your doctor have the answer. But the truth be told, you know yourself better than anybody else. You know how you feel. You see, you are the one that knows your pre-existing conditions. So really, you and your GP will decide the best form of anxiety medication for yourself. Truth is this. You see, Lynn knows that she was suffering from anxiety and depression. And with her GP, they decided that sertraline is the best one to combine both. Also, Lois knew that he has the neuropathic pain. And so he knew that combining both, combining using duloxetine to get the benefit of combating his anxiety as well as combating his neuropathic pain, that duloxetine will be the best one for him. See, nobody knew that. He knew that. His doctor knew that. So you are in a position to know the best one for yourself. Now, before you clock out, before you sign out, I'm going to ask you a question. Have you seen my video on 4 ways you can manage your anxiety? If you haven't seen that, click on the link and also scan the QR code. I'm so sure that you're going to find this so useful. So watch and see how you can manage your anxiety. Thank you again for watching, and goodbye for now.